Hey everyone, and welcome back to BeTerrific. I'm Andrea Fasano, and we are here live at Toy Fair 2016 from the Jacob Javits Center here in New York City. And right now, I have the creator of Pound Puppies. Do you guys remember those? They basically defined my childhood. Michael Bowling, and he's presenting a new product he's here promoting. It's called Splashlings. Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to speak with you right now because
you.
Pound Puppies, like I said, I still have one.
Yeah.
My parents probably have it somewhere in their house somewhere.
Thank you.
It was on my bed always. They were just so cuddly and made you feel good, and then they had their whole story behind them, and I loved them. So what brings you to this toy fair with Splashlings?
Well, you know, it's funny, but I kind of have a little bit of a tie-in from Pound Puppies to now 30 years later to Splashlings. I got the idea for Pound Puppies in December of 1983 while I was working in Ford in a factory. And I bought my daughter a little doll for Christmas, and she fell in love with it, took it everywhere with her. And I was just thinking, you know, how can an inanimate object have that much emotional appeal? Well, I thought, you know, because people love their babies and their pets, and some people love their pets as if they're their babies.
Yes.
And when I was growing up, you went to the pound, so that was the idea for Pound Puppies.
Pound Puppies, wow.
Started back then. So now fast forward 30 years later, gray hair, and I'm walking on the beach with my granddaughter in Florida, and I'm teaching her how you can hear the sound of the ocean in the shells. And she's listening to it, and she says, "Poppy, what lives inside of seashells?" And I says, "Mermaids do." She says, "No, Poppy, they're big like me." And I said, No. Mermaids are really tiny, the real ones, and they live inside of seashells.
Oh, how cute.
So that was the spawning the idea for Splashlings, an ocean full of friends.
Wow. And so, wait, had you done anything in between the Pound Puppies?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I've had probably over the last 30 years, probably a half a dozen, maybe a dozen more lines. None of them were as big as famous as Pound Puppies, because
Right.
Pound Puppies, you know, is still around to today, you know, 30 years
And you
later.
said you worked on the Ford line.
Yes.
So for Ford cars, how do you go from doing something like that to creating a product all of your own?
Well, you know, it's funny, but Pound Puppies was my first toy idea, so I did pretty good with that. But, you know, one of the things that I found out that helped, and I love sharing this with people, because people always say, what are you supposed to do with an idea?
Right.
And so when I first got the idea for Pound Puppies, I went to an attorney, an IP attorney, and I said, I've got this great idea. And I said, I want to sell it to a toy company. And he says, you can't own an idea. He says you can own trademarks, copyrights, and then once you own those items, then you can take them to a company and ask them if they want to buy them or license them. And so I started about the task of getting the samples made and filing for the trademarks and the copyrights. And a lot of people are afraid. They say, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that.
Right.
How can I do this? How can I do that? And it's amazing. Once you start pursuing an idea, there are lawyers that do the IP for you. There are pattern designers that make the product for you.
Exactly.
There are box people that made my first boxes. So you can get it done if you just pursue the
Just
idea.
keep trying. I am so glad that you mentioned that, because one of my biggest questions, and one of the reasons I'm so glad BeTerrific is at these trade shows and brings inventors like you onto the show, is because it's one thing to have an idea, no matter what business or industry you're in. It's another to bring it to fruition.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest part and the biggest problem that people who have ideas face. They just don't know how to get going, and then you become a procrastinator. The idea never gets out there, and we're the ones who suffer because there are some really brilliant ideas out there.
You're exactly right.
Right?
On. Yeah, you know, I tell friends, my line I tell people is the greatest ideas on earth will never be invented.
Right.
And that's because people have them inside of their heads, but they don't know what to do in the process of it. And you know, another major thing that you'll hear from people, they'll go, what if somebody steals my idea? Well,
Exactly.
if you go to an attorney and you get a trademark or a copyright or a design patent or whatever, then you own those. Nobody
can't steal it.
Right, exactly, they can't. And not that people are there. Seriously, I've told so many people, companies are not out there looking to steal ideas. If it's a great idea, they love paying you for the idea,
Right.
because it's going to be successful for them. So I've never allowed that to be a detriment to me.
That's
but
great.
Acquiring the trademarks and patents and copyrights and stuff it creates real value then to the company that's wanting to, because they don't want anybody to take their idea either. So you're
Exactly.
offering them something that has
You're
value.
doing the work, and they want you to have everything encompassed so that they can just buy it and say, great, we're done.
Yeah.
I think that is so tremendous, and I'm glad you said every inch of the way, because it does take work, and I feel like once you just start those steps, even though they're scary, the rest of it opens up for you, right? You just ask questions and you figure out the path.
You can find out a way, because no one person can know.
Does it all.
Can know everything about everything.
Exactly.
From package design to making prototypes to whatever the case may be. But just through the pursuit of it, you can find the answers to your questions if you really want to do it.
If you really want it, which if you want it bad enough, you will make it happen.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that little piece of wisdom with us. So let's talk about Splashlings here. You said this just came out in January.
It was just shipped into Toys R Us. We're exclusively in Toys R Us this spring, and I'm very pleased to say that we're doing extremely well for just being launched. And I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that it's mermaids, and little girls know and love mermaids. But we're different in the marketplace in that we're the real mermaids, the tiny ones that live inside of shells, and what you get in the process.
There's your mermaid in a shell. How cute.
And one of the things a reporter said to me many years ago, and I love it. Sometimes other people tell you something that is not right in front of your face.
Yes.
A reporter said to me, he said, "I love Pound Puppies because the batteries in them are a child's imagination."
Right.
And so I've tried, as I've developed toys since that time, to always focus on making sure that it spurs children's imaginations. As you see here, there's no batteries. It can go in the water where you like to play with mermaids and have all the fun that goes with it. But what we also did for Splashlings, an ocean full of friends, is we partnered with Shaftesbury Entertainment, and they have produced 6 2-minute webisodes that are on the website. But not just produce 6 2-minute webisodes. We developed a very engaging story with depth. I think sometimes when they do animation, they make it too young, and whereas I believe that a 4-year-old girl, a 5-year-old girl,
is very smart.
They're very smart. They have the ability to get into a strong story and engaging. So what we did was we developed a story where the mermaids find a treasure maps, how it starts out, and they go out in the ocean to find treasure shells. And when they find the treasure shells, they get the treasure out, and different treasures give them powers. And if they're not treasures, then they get ocean friends.
Oh
that
my
become
gosh,
their
I
best
know. Look at
friend.
this little crab that's in here.
Yes.
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead. No problem.
I'm knocking them over instead.
And
How
so
cute
they
is
get
that?
friends. But then there's one more twist I think you're gonna love with the storyline. I said I wanted it to be engaging and I wanted it to have strong appeal. And I remember when I was talking to the writer, I said, well, I've got one more little idea I think would be fun. I didn't know whether she would like it or not. I said, there's always supposed to be some kind of adversarial role that they're struggling against or fighting against. And I said, what do you think of the idea we do merpirates? So they're little half mermaid, half shark with pirates outfits on them.
Oh my gosh, how funny is that?
And they try to steal the treasures from the mermaids, and the things that they go.
It's their adversary.
Yes, it's their adversary, but it's just really done in a fun way. And the first 6, like I said, episodes, they all tie together into one story so that you understand what the line is about. And I'm very excited.
Where can those be found?
At splashlings.com. The episodes are there at splashlings.com. And like I said, I'm very proud of what Shaftesbury did, and it's great. Great for kids. And
that's so awesome that you said it doesn't, you don't want them to be spoken down to. Right?
No.
You want them to be treated like adults almost, but where they understand the material and what's going on. And
it seems like, and maybe it isn't true, maybe they've always been that way.
Right.
But 4- and 5-year-old girls, they're very, very smart. They know what's going on. They're able to get into a strong storyline like that and understand, and with the adventures and everything. But then here's what happens. We have, as an example, we have over 100 ocean friends to collect, and we have over 16 mermaids to start to collect.
I love them.
And once they get into the storyline, with their imaginations, they can continue to create their own adventures with all the new mermaids. They'll determine what's this one's personality, what's her strength, what's all the different types of things. So it really opens up a child's imagination to be able to build stories with it. And that's really what excites me about Splashlings.
Right.
At this point in time in my life, it's very important to me that I create things that little girls love. I remember the highlight of inventing Pound Puppies at the very start. It was actually introduced in Canada first, and by Irwin Toy before it was introduced in the U.S. And I went up to Toronto after we had negotiated, just been shipped into the stores in Canada, and I was coming back to the airport to fly back. And a little girl was sitting across from me with a Pound Puppy in her arm playing with it. First time I'd ever seen one in public.
Wow.
Gave me chill bumps. I watched her play with it, talk to it, hug it, do all that type of stuff. And ever since that moment, that to me is what creating toys, it's really what it's all about.
You found your life's work.
Yes, exactly. And this, I hope, makes so many little girls happy and gives them a moment of imagination and freeness and having fun and sparking that imagination and stuff. Because unfortunately, it seems like the phone is all day long nowadays.
I know.
And you like them to be able to...
I love that this goes in the water, too, because you could bring it on vacation with you and, you know, all of that fun stuff. So 30 years in the business, how are you liking Toy Fair this year?
Oh, I'm loving it right now
with your new product.
The business has changed dramatically. And when I first started here 31 years ago, Toy Fair was 2 weeks long, and it was 205th Avenue at 23rd Street. And It was really exciting. And literally in 2 weeks' time, you would go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of buyers. Now, because of, you know, Walmart and Target own such a huge share of the market, it's important that your product gets into the mass retailers to be able to be a true success in today's market.
To even be considered as a product that a little girl can find.
You're exactly right. So I would say that's the biggest change in the industry from when I started and had black hair.
Well, like Michael said, he's jealous. You still have hair, so you're winning on top for that one.
Yes, thank you.
Well, Michael, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the product?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
And being able to share the story of Splashlings and to go back in history to Pound Puppies. That's been a lot of fun.
I know. This is truly an honor for me because Pound Puppies was such a part of my growing up in my youth. And just being here on BeTerrific, we are all about positive stories and positive content. So thank you so much for sharing those stories about your daughter and then about your granddaughter with us. Much success with Splashlings. And have a great rest of your Toy Fair experience.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys, go check out splashlings.com if you want to find out more about this toy. And stay right there for so much more products and content coming up here from Toy Fair 2016 from the Jacob Javits Center here in New York City. I'm Andrea Fasano for BeTerrific, and we will be right back after this.